क्रिकेट टीवी जहां मिलेगी क्रिकेट की सारी बातें, जहां जोश भी है, जहां होश भी है, जहां क्रिकेट है, आओ देखें क्रिकेट टीवी।
Hello and welcome back to Cricket TV. Cricket TV's weekly wrap. We have a new segment lined up for you. I'm Hitvi Patel, and we are back with a breakdown of the biggest stories in the cricket world this week with balance, clarity, and a healthy dose of heart. Joining us today is someone who's been with us since the very beginning, Nikhil Morsawala. Strategic, sharp, and often the first to spot a trend before it becomes the narrative. Joining us today, another one is a fresh face, Brinda Gotawala. Let me introduce her. She's got a great sense of fan heartbeat, storytelling instincts, and a take that's fresh, honest, and much needed in today's cricket news. Over to you, Brinda. You're on the headlines.
Thank you so much, Hetvi. So, guys, let's dive into the top international weekly report from the world of cricket, along with one explosive legal update that might really shake up the Indian cricket. So, the first is India versus England, the third test. India dominating as the match swings in their favor, thrilling performances all around. India versus England women first ODI. Team India face a tough fight in the opening ODI. England takes the early lead. England versus India under 19 first test, which was draw. So rising stars from both the sides delivers a nail-biting game. This first under 19 test ends in a hard-fought draw. Australia versus West Indies third test. Aussies hold strong, yet Windies put up a spirited show. Zimbabwe versus New Zealand second T20. Black Caps maintain control. New Zealand clinches victory. Zimbabwe shows grit. Major League Cricket Final USA. Mumbai Indians, New York, crowned champions of MLC 2025, a huge moment for USA cricket. Judicial shock, RCB, KSCA, DNA, and Bangalore police indicted. Justice Michael Kunha probe rocks Karnataka cricket. Criminal proceedings to follow. So, friends, this is a wrap on today's top headlines. Now, over to Mr. Nikhil and Hetvi for the detailed reviews and deeper insights on all this news.
I think I like to go first, especially regarding the two loss, Zimbabwe and West Indies. West Indies lost in the test match, scoring second lowest score in the test, 27. That's surprising. History, but surprising. It's the second lowest. Zimbabwe lost to to New Zealand in the tri-series with South Africa. They scored around 120 runs. Again, less for T20 internationals as well. But I feel that I always look at West Indies and Zimbabwe from a different perspective, especially from a cricketing board perspective. I think they lack immense support from the cricketing board. While cricket is not just about passion, when you see West Indies player, we see Bravo, we have seen Chris Gale, we have seen so many great players from West Indies playing IPL in a way, in a manner, with an intent, and they have won games for Mumbai Indians, RCB, Punjab Kings, and when they play for West Indies, and they don't even play for West Indies at certain moment, they prioritize these series over West Indies, their country cricket. I feel that shift needs to be acknowledged, and it needs to change. For Zimbabwe, I just read that ICC sponsors their cricketing board, and that's also less than what per member requires. So they are struggling. They are hosting this tri-series. They are fighting their way back. They played well. They have somebody called Brian Bennett and Milton Shamba in their squad, and they are really good. They have potential, and I think a real support from cricketing board will make a difference to these teams, especially, like I said, Zimbabwe and West Indies. West Indies, there's politics, there's poor contract systems, board and player disputes has been quite a talk of town for quite a few years now. West Indies was a team that has been feared for a long time, and now we are seeing a downfall. We are seeing a downfall since few too many years now. It hasn't recovered. They haven't recovered at all. And I think 27 runs in a test cricket is not something you expect from a test match. What do you have to say, Nikhil sir?
Yeah, I'll just add my two bits and then move on to the MLC because very interesting result there. But I think this typically shows you how sports need not be taught. It is inborn. It is, you are born with the talent. So poor countries like Zimbabwe, West Indies, and when I say poor, I mean where they don't spend a lot of money on the sport because they don't have the allocation of the budget, and so there's no governmental support, no facilities. Same thing. I think India is not far behind in that in that league of not getting enough support, or the enough infrastructure of the government, but the inherent talent with which the people from the subcontinent, for example, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or even West Indies, and now Zimbabwe, they are born with. I think that shows in the talent that they, in spite of all the challenges, you get world beaters like Kieran Pollard or Andre Russell, or the Chris Gale. I mean, these are legends of cricket, and they have come out from most of the poverty challenges and lack of support from the board, everything that you mentioned. They fight all that, and then they come out on top. And I think that's nothing but what God's gift to him, God's gift to that individual, and they exploit that gift. And I think that's what's so wonderful about it. That's when I see them, I think this is what life is all about, right? It's challenges all the way. There's no support like no support from like we see women in India, no empowerment. They challenge their family, and then they go out in the world and make a success out of themselves. I think that ability to withstand pressure, to withstand political bias, to withstand social bias, to withstand poverty bias. All these things, when you see them emerging from there, it gives you a lot of pride. And you see, and I always feel happy when I see these people playing in the IPL, because at least they're making some money out of their sport and being able to support their family, go back home, and be inspire the next generation, be icons for the next younger generation to come, that no, there is hope. Yes, if I do this, I can make money. So I think great point you raise, and I think it's important that we keep on highlighting these issues about countries like which don't support sports the way it should be done, and therefore the sport does not bloom. The same thing happens in football in Europe. You see a lot of big, massive, iconic footballers coming out of very poor backgrounds, out of very poverty ridden families, but it's just the inherent ability that puts them right on top of the game, and then they become world icons. So great point, I think, and I think very good to see them on the center stage now. Cricket is a game of surprises. The glorious uncertainties of cricket is what is a phrase which I grew up with that. The commentary, radio commentary, always the glorious uncertainties of cricket, and nothing could be more symbolic of that than Mumbai Indian New York winning the MLC. In the table, in the league, they lost 7 out of 10 matches. 7 out of 10. They scraped through the qualifiers. They were the fourth team to scrape through. They were on 6. Seattle was on 6. They had a higher, better run rate. So they emerged number 4. They did not win any match in the league against the top 3. And then they go into the qualifiers and beat all 3. So I think this just shows you, again, another lesson in life. You're never down and out. And I don't like to lapse into Gujarati, but in school, when you fail, it doesn't mean you'll fail in life. So if you haven't done well in the league matches, it doesn't mean that you won't win in the qualifiers. So never give up. You may not have done well in the run up to the final exam, but when the final exam comes and you perform, that's when the real thing matters. And I think that's how. I mean, I was shocked when first of all, I didn't expect MINY to be qualifying. Okay, first it was ruled out. First 6 matches they lost. They won 3 out of the last 4, and at the end of 6 matches it was 0. ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता है. एंड देन उसके बाद जब उन्होंने 7वां 8वां 9वां 10वां में 3 मैच जीते, तब वो रन रेट उनका अच्छा था और वो क्वालिफाई हुए, तब लगा कि चलो क्वालिफाई तो हो गए, अब क्या होना है. लेकिन फिर भी क्वालिफायर 1 में जीते, क्वालिफायर 2 में जीते और फिर फाइनल में जीते। तो ये जो एक जो ट्रेंड आपको दिखता है क्रिकेट में, कि जो डाउन एंड आउट लगता है, जो वीक टीम लगती है, वो जब सही समय आता है तब उनके जो प्लेयर्स साथ में जुड़ जाते हैं और एक एक तरह का युद्ध है उनके लिए, और वो युद्ध में एक साथ में मिलके वो युद्ध लड़ते हैं और जीतते हैं, तब उसमें मजा आता है। ये फैंटास्टिक रिजल्ट, एंड इट डिड शो दैट you are never down and out. You just don't give up. Be there, keep at it. Sooner or later, if little bit of luck in your favor, of course, yes, you need that. If you have that little luck in your favor, you can make it.
I think it is more
True.
about
I
Mumbai
feel it was
Indians. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I think it's more about Mumbai Indians being attached to the name, because when they are down and out, they have to qualify and they have to win. So it's a Mumbai Indian legacy right there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna tell. That the same year, this year, during the IPL here in India, the same thing happened, right? That they were so down on the table, and we didn't really think that they would even qualify. But then it was the other way around. And later they were not able to win it. But then I guess then this is the strategy, not just in India, but everywhere where they are playing with this franchisee.
Mumbai Indian
They're late
mindset.
starters, they're late bloomers, I guess. Yeah, that's there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's a good golden phase for Indian cricket, because if you see in the under 19 match, that
Yes.
the first that was played between the under 19 India and England teams, though it was a draw, I think it was the balance of play was in favor of India, because at the end of play, England needed 79 runs to win, and they only had 3 wickets in hand. So I doubt if there were another 2 hours to go in the match, I think India would have taken those 3 wickets. So I think the balance of play was shifted towards India. Unfortunately, it's a 4-day test. They don't play 5 days for the under 19, and
Mhm.
it ended with a draw. All credit to both the teams. I think they played well. Vaibhav Suryavanshi, by the way, holds now the world record of being the youngest cricketer in the world to score a half century and take wickets at the age of 14 years and something.
Yeah.
So the youngest cricketer to make a half century and take a wicket in the same test match. The earlier record was held by a Bangladesh player called Mehdi, and the youngest Indian before this was Suresh Raina, who did at the age of 15 years and 200 days or something. So Vaibhav is really, I think, blossoming. I think it's good for India that a young kid of his age is now showing ट्रू मेटल ऑन फॉरेन शोज, बिकॉज अपने घर में शेर बनना तो बहुत आसान है, सब अपने घर में शेर होते हैं ना, हम भी दहाड़ मारते हैं हमारे घर में, जब बाहर जाते हैं तो हमारी बोलती बंद हो जाती है। लेकिन जब ये बाहर जाके आप जब दहाड़ मारते हो, जब बाहर जाके शेर बनते हो, और फिर वहां आपका रुतबा दिखता है, वहां आप रौब दिखाते हो, तो वहां पे आपके सही जो कैरेक्टर है वो दिखता है, आपका जो सही जो एबिलिटी है वो वहां पे निखर के आती है। तो मुझे लगता है ये जो वैभव जो दिखा रहे हैं इंग्लैंड में, और जैसे मैंने बेहतरी आपको याद होगा, मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि इंग्लैंड के साथ खेलना सबसे बड़ा मुश्किल काम है क्रिकेट में। कोई भी आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाइए, साउथ अफ्रीका जाइए, वेस्ट इंडीज जाइए, कंपेयर टू इंग्लैंड, प्लेइंग इंग्लैंड इन इंग्लैंड इज द टफेस्ट आउटिंग फॉर एनी क्रिकेटर। 4 seasons in a day, unpredictable weather, bullying Englishmen, support for the local crowd, you're fighting against all odds। और जब आप उस माहौल में जब आप अच्छा खेलते हो और आप अपना आपको एक अच्छी तरह से पेश करते हो उस मैदान पे, तो उसमें सही में आपका एक कैरेक्टर निखर के आता है। मुझे लगता है वैभव सूर्यवंशी और ऑफ कोर्स आयुष मात्रे मेड अ सेंचुरी
Yes.
in the
Yes.
second inning. That's why on the first innings, that's why they went up to 430 runs in the first innings. That
104.
was
Yes.
so much for the 101 run lead that they got. So I think that criticality of these youngsters, and there were 5 half centuries by the way in the first innings for India. There's a contribution of the entire team. And bowling by Henil Patel was excellent in the second inning. That's why 7 wickets of England were taken. So I think a good match, a good beginning for India in the 19. They have to keep the momentum. And I think Indian women beating England women in England, India under 19 beating England in England under 19, and India, if the men's team now beat,
Yes.
hopefully, in the 4th or 5th match, then you have a complete
Fingers
dominance.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. That gentleman on the back on my screen here on the other side, I hope he does what he's supposed to do, lead the team well. Because I read about
We
Greg
will.
Chappell saying a captain cannot talk only with his bat. A captain has to talk to the team and communicate and inspire and take them forward. So just batting well is not a captain's job. He's got to do a lot of other things. And Greg Chappell gave that advice to Shubman Singh. सिर्फ बैट मत कीजिए, अच्छा आपकी कप्तानी दिखाइए, थोड़ा लीड करिए, थोड़ा पुल अप. You can't drop catches. Hetway, I mentioned KL Rahul drop
Yes,
catch. Nobody's talking
yes.
about it. You have to talk about it. You have to, however
Mhm.
senior the player is, if he's fielding badly, you have to pull up that player. So I think being honest, analyzing is what Shubman needs to do. And I think if these three things happen, I think India's dominance over England will be complete, at least on these three tours.
We have done a full review earlier this week, so do check that out on our channel if you missed it. But we also forgot to mention there was a little silver lining last week. KL Rahul and Jasprit Bumrah, they made it to Lord's Honors Board. A rare milestone and moments to celebrate, definitely. So
Absolutely.
they did really well that
Absolutely.
way.
This goes into eternity. It goes into it. You become a legend because 200 years later, somebody's going to look at that board and say, "Who's that KL Rahul?" And then somebody's going to tell you, "Okay, he's this guy." And I think that's a very, very big accolade that you get. And I think a lot of praise should go to these gentlemen who made it to the board. Very interesting point you made, Vrinda. And what are your thoughts on that judgment about the thing that happened in Bengaluru? Where do you think this is going to go?
See, what I really feel is during at that time as well, when this came out that, there's going to be a felicitation ceremony or the victory parade for the team, I really felt that they were really underprepared because earlier we saw the messages, then later on social media, and nowadays people are quite influenced by social media. Everyone is out there on Instagram and everyone are quite updated. So first it was that there is going to be the ceremony. Later it was told that it was banned, but still that the ceremony was held. And then we came to know that the Karnataka State Cricket Association was not able to convey the message to the police timely. But even when they were not able to convey it, the police colluded with the organizers, and then they were like, no, 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 we shall get this thing done. So they didn't have proper entry management, they didn't have proper barricading at the area. There were no ambulances were placed. The ambulances were placed quite far at the old airport road. So everything was mismanaged, and on top of that, the RCB team, they posted it on the social media handle with Virat Kohli saying that, there is going to be this victory parade today. It was quite viral with his video, with his voice. So this everything went really wrong. So and there were 11 people who were dead and there were 71 people who were injured, and all of these were cricket fans. So this is a very gloomy area, or the gloomy thing about the victory. So I really feel that someone should be held accountable. If you so that's the reason this probe was made. So let's see that how it goes, and what and how severe it gets on the Indian cricket and on the team as well.
I think
एक्चुअली
accountability.
आप तो विराट कोहली की बड़ी फैन है, आपको क्या लगता है ये यानी ये तो एक जैसे आपने एक जुडिशियल इंक्वायरी की और किसी ने किसी को ब्लेम किया और कहा नहीं ये जिम्मेदार, वो जिम्मेदार है, फलाना जिम्मेदार है, ढिमका जिम्मेदार है, तो आपके इस पर क्या व्यूज है, क्या होता है ऐसे ऐसे समय में, क्या करना चाहिए? और जो हुआ वो तो ऑब्वियसली यू कैन नॉट टर्न द क्लॉक बैक, लेकिन
Unchanged.
लेकिन अगर हम दो चीज की बातें करें, एक जो हुआ उसके बारे में आपकी क्या राय है और आगे चल के हमें क्या करना चाहिए?
I think everybody should take a lesson out of it, as in accountability is important, not just from the team management, not just from the authority, even from us as fans. Ki you need to think it through before you make a decision of stepping out. Abhi, everybody will be very careful on, making these celebrations. Everybody was really happy. It was after 20 years. I think even in my town, we would have celebrated if, we had a big RCB fan group and in the same manner. But of course, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be proper planning. Ki in case a team wins, what needs to be done, how it needs to be managed. तो एक मैनेजमेंट एक ऑप्शन जो इन्होंने किया था वो 315 को 314 को आई बिलीव देयर वाज अ ट्वीट और देयर वाज अ पोस्ट फ्रॉम आरसीबी टीम की अभी you'll have to buy a ticket. That was very short period. You cannot really post that like right before the event. So I think there needs to be more accountability here rather than blame game कि इन्होंने post किया या उन्होंने post किया. And of course, when players at such stature, if you are making a video, if you are sharing something ki we'll celebrate it with our fans, you have to be more you have to take more responsibility from your end as well.
Yeah, and, just maybe because my generation thinks like that, but I sometimes think that you have to put things in perspective. A win in the IPL, it's a win, of course, and you want to celebrate. But when you take it out of proportion, and you take it as if it's a world war that you have won, and then you go on the streets, I think that sense of celebration that needs to come has to I'm not saying it should be muted. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि आपको नहीं सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए, लेकिन जो एक जो बैलेंस होना चाहिए ना, जैसे आप वर्ल्ड कप जीत के आते हो तो एक तरह का एक आनंद होता है। आप एक रणजी ट्रॉफी जीतते हो तो एक आनंद होता है, टेस्ट मैच जीतते हो तो एक तरह का आनंद होता है, आप एक डोमेस्टिक सीजन जीतते हो तो एक तरह का आनंद होता है। आप अगर इस तरह से सिर्फ बेंगलुरु ने आईपीएल जीता इसीलिए, भाई आज के पहले जब भी जैसे राजस्थान ने जब पहले मैच जीता तो मैंने राजस्थान में कुछ देखा नहीं जब पहला आईपीएल जीता। तो ये जो आइकॉनिक प्लेयर की जो हीरो वर्शिप है, तो ये अगर विराट कोहली नहीं होते बेंगलुरु में और बेंगलुरु जीतते तो क्या ये होता? मुझे नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि ये
नहीं
जो
होता,
सारा
नहीं होता।
हम सारा कहते हैं ये 18वां आईपीएल है, विराट कोहली का जर्सी 18 नंबर का है और उसका लकी 18 नंबर है, तो उसको जीतना चाहिए। तो हम 100 दिन से कहते हैं जीतना चाहिए, जीतना चाहिए, जीतना चाहिए, और वो जीता, और उसके बाद ये सारा हुआ। तो ये जो हम जो हीरो वर्शिप का जो है ना, कि हम आदमी को भगवान बना देते हैं और
Yeah.
फिर उसके बाद ये करते हैं, मेरे ख्याल मुझे लगता है यहाँ पे हमें, जैसे आपने सही बोला हितवी, कि इट इज नॉट जस्ट अप टू द अथॉरिटीज, इट इज अप टू द फैंस ऑल्सो, कि हमें हमें इसको एक अपने अपने एक एक you should keep it in the proper perspective. Yes, of course, I mean celebrate, but it's not that, I mean, no, everything is over, all my woes are over, and राम राज्य आ गया, अभी चलो खुशियां मनाओ। You need to stop somewhere, and I think that has to come from not hero worshipping people. Virat Kohli is a human being. Rohit
Yeah.
Sharma is a human being. These are not gods. These are people like you and me, 2 hands and 2 feet. We made them what they are. I mean, because we sit in the stadium and start screaming and shouting, we talk about Rocco. Others who talks about Rocco? Nobody, right? So I think that perception has to be there, that perspective has to be there. That only will avoid these tragedies. You cannot have 2 million people rushing out and trying to celebrate a victory that is nothing except a cricket match. So I think that perspective needs to come in. We need to stop hero worshipping, and we need to put that message out. Yes, they are great cricketers. Celebrate the ability, the skill, not the victory. Because you can lose also, and it happens when they lose, right? People go and stone their houses, and it happens both ways.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, yes.
you might remember situations where लोग हम बहुत बुरी तरह से हार के आए भारत में, और फिर उनको
Yes,
बू किया गया, और किसी के ऊपर पत्थर मारा, या किसी घर पे जाके, घर के बाहर जाके कुछ ये किया, जो भी है, तो ये
yes.
गलत बात है ना। तो है सो उसको एक सही सही नजरिए से लेके हमें रिएक्ट करना चाहिए। मेरा से इतना एक छोटा सा contribution, but I think both you ladies have put it in the right perspective. Mismanagement, there was something wrong that happened over there. Accountability has to be there. Somebody's got to be pulled up. Who, why, and how? I'm sure the courts will
Mm.
take its own course.
A lot more awareness is required in this regard with regard to the citizens of the nation कि हमारे में वो awareness आनी चाहिए. That's more important.
मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव तो वही है कि जो यंग जनरेशन है उसको हम ये चीज नहीं सिखा सकते। मतलब वी कैन नॉट लॉक देम अप इनसाइड द हाउसेस एंड लाइक द पेरेंट्स कैन नॉट टेल देम दैट डोंट गो आउट, राइट? So what I feel is that it is very important from the side of organizers, along with the government, should have pitched in. I know that it was a very hasty decision, so that's where they went wrong, that they could have taken a little more time and then they could have managed everything. Moreover, I've heard that the infrastructure that Chinnaswamy Stadium has is not adequate for this kind of parades and for crowd controlling and everything. So yes, hand in hand, if the government, the organizers, and the people, the citizens, as Hetvi is saying, then things would have been better, and it would be better in future, and no such incident would take place ever again.
I always that sometimes on the not to be political, but on the jumlas that we have आत्मनिर्भर, तो ऐसे we should not be सरकार निर्भर। हमें कभी कभी सोचते हैं ना कि सरकार ने ये नहीं किया, सरकार ने वो नहीं किया, तो हम सरकार निर्भर क्यों बनते हैं? हमें
Yes.
तो आत्मनिर्भर बनना चाहिए ना। जब हमारे प्रधानमंत्री कहते हैं आत्मनिर्भर बनिए, तो जब आत्मनिर्भरता का मतलब सिर्फ ये नहीं कि पैसा है, आत्मनिर्भर
Yes.
का मतलब ये भी है कि जब आप बाहर जाते हो तो आपकी सुरक्षा आप खुद करिए। न कि आप किसी को कहिए कि, और ये मैं आधा हंसी मजाक में बोल रहा हूँ, आधा सीरियसली बोल रहा हूँ कि जब आप बाहर जाते हो तो आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथ में है, किसी और के हाथ में नहीं है। तो अगर आपको दिखता है कि यहाँ जाने से कुछ होने वाला है, नहीं जाना चाहिए, तो आप टेक दैट डिसीजन
Mhm.
एंड जस्ट हैंग बैक। डोंट गो विद दैट rash perspective, no, I have to do it. I
Crowd,
want
yeah,
to be
yeah.
Virat. I want to say
Don't be a
Virat Kohli, and therefore
scapegoat.
I must do whatever it takes in the world, even if it takes my life. So that I think is
Mhm.
something that our youth should be told, that be Atmanirbhar not only about not financially only, but also in terms of your physical safety. It's in your hands. And I think Vrinda, you know better than anybody else, right? You are in the safety business.
Exactly, that's what I was saying. That
Yeah.
when you were getting this point, that no, I'm sure that there are emergency exits and people should know that where to go. But here, as I told you, there was no management. So this point is very right from your side that if you know that this is the scenario right now, you should take a step back. I mean, you would not die if you don't see the captain holding that trophy. You can simply sit home and then watch whatever was going on. So yeah, that's very right on your side.
So I think the combination of three, four things, and it's not black and white, it's all gray. So I think we need to
Gray area.
pull out the bits and pieces and then see what makes the right sense and keep on conveying these messages. And I think celebrate, but as they say, when they say smoke, but smoke responsibly, or drink, but drink responsibly. Celebrate, but celebrate
सावधान
responsibly.
रहे, सतर्क रहे और मौज मनाते रहे.
ये बढ़िया बोला आपने, सावधान रहे, सतर्क रहे और मौज
मौज
मनाते रहिए।
मनाते.
बहुत ही बढ़िया आपका साइन ऑफ लाइन था। वृंदा,
Okay, we
so
can.
you
I
would like to
think,
sign off, Vrinda?
yeah, let's wrap up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a wonderful session and it was, for me as well, it was a very good experience. तो दोस्तों, यहाँ पे कहानियां सिर्फ स्कोर कार्ड तक सीमित नहीं है. क्रिकेट के पर्दे के पीछे भी एक अलग खेल चालू है. कहीं मैच जीतने की टक्कर तो कहीं न्याय की जंग. Friends, this game is no longer just about bat and ball. It is about power, pride and pure passion. मैं हूँ आपकी दोस्त और होस्ट. मिलती रहूंगी जल्द आपसे नए अपडेट के साथ. तब
एक ही
तक
कमेंट करूंगा,
देखते रहिए.
एक कमेंट,
हम्म.
वृंदा के पीछे एक पर्दा है और पर्दे के पीछे बहुत सारी बातें।
Bang on. तब तक के लिए देखते रहिए और साथ बने रहिए क्रिकेट टीवी पर, जहां क्रिकेट एक खेल नहीं, एक एहसास है.
क्या
Keep
बात।
watching us, guys. Cricket TV, all things cricket and more. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
आओ देखें किरकिटी